it has just gotten into has been thrown, as a result, the oppression is going to be inspiring more revolution out in the States. Now, I suppose there's good and bad aspects of that, but how has that affected your work, and are you going to be continuing to live in the banana republic to the south, or what?
Well, the entire drug war triggers a very firm response in my own actions. I wrote a chapter in the second book called Cui Bono, which in essence is a discussion of who benefits, to whose benefit, to use the dative, to whose benefit the drug war is. And I was going to estimate, and I did estimate the size of it as an industry, and came up with a rather remarkable value of $500 billion as an industry. And I don't think anyone who's benefiting from this type of industrial return is very anxious to end the war. Not that there is any definition to the end. I would love to be in a debate with a drug warrior and ask what would constitute victory. And I think I'll get a smile. Well, you can't really win it, but at least we'll get as close as we can. Which means, in my mind, I'm the pessimist and the optimist. I'm the pessimist. I think it's going to go on and become more intense and more profitable.
Now, it would seem that the more intense it is, the more and the more particular substances are oppressed, the more the crime tariff goes up, the more valuable that substance has become, and the more demand there becomes on those particular substances.
Which defines the economics of the drug war.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, in terms of the development of these further ones, there is I understand there's discussions to make anything that becomes pleasurably psychoactive illegal in the States. Is that the direction it's going?
I believe it is, and even worse than that, I think anything that is developed outside of the corporate industry will eventually be illegalized. Efforts are made to make vitamins and herbs and botanicals illegal. That was blocked, but it will be continually tried again.
What's your comment on?
Yes, I have to be more of an optimist. Otherwise, we'd both be packing to live in a freer and better country. And I still feel that the United States is, as long as they don't completely forget about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, is still an extraordinary country. I feel that when there is a real shutdown of this kind of, not just research, but this kind of mental approach, this kind of view of consciousness-changing drugs and experiences, and my emphasis being on the spiritual aspect of these experiences. When you have a closing down of them, which happened certainly under Clinton, I don't think that President Bush could do much worse than Clinton did. I think that what happens is that you have a push in the other direction. It's just the way the pendulum goes. The push in the other direction is already happening in Europe. The European countries are one after another ignoring the United States view of especially psychedelics, but all drugs in general. And let's see, so far Spain has for a long time had an extremely sensible drug policy. The basic idea being that an adult has the right to possess amounts for personal use of any drug he chooses, which I think is supremely commonsensical. And then several other countries have joined it. Was it Belgium? Holland, Switzerland, and parts of Germany. And I think that also Israel is doing some really good studies. In Israel and perhaps in Spain, MDMA is being studied for its possible help with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And I've felt for years that veterans who've been suffering very badly, especially from the Vietnam War, could be helped immensely by MDMA. It's the one drug I can think of that would be able to help them. So finally, two countries are doing something about this, and I think that what's going to happen if the United States doesn't, come to its senses, is that all the publications, all the good science is going to shift over to Europe. And we are going to eventually begin to realize we're way behind. And I hope that happens. I think it has to happen.
Well, hopefully the Inquisition will end at some point. I guess the Christians need the Romans and such. In terms of the spirituality, do you see this? Would you actually? When I was reading Green Psychology, Ralph Metzner's book, he was talking about how the ecopathic mind state has to be changed by, or is best changed by, these plant allies, by these substances. Can you comment on how the drugs that you've developed and the other plant allies out there can work to help us to cure this ecopathic orientation?
Well, this lies outside of my direct interest. I have some reservation on the use of the concept of spirituality, because mine has always been a rigid scientific discipline, and looking at what it does, how it does it, and how it can be used. I think the idea, an outgrowth of this, of course, is the personal development that comes from realizing some aspects about yourself, some aspects about your interior, the machinery inside of you at the psychological level that dictates what you do. And these, what Anne calls the inner beast, the shadow, are indeed made more apparent to you through the opening of a psychedelic drug. And from that, of course, will come an improvement of personal interrelationships and personal interrelationships as well.
I think that what is most important is that the scientifically minded and somewhat materialistic industrial West begin to respect and honor the spiritual quests that most average people are very much concerned with, whether they express it that way or not. I think psychedelics are definitely not for everyone. I think they should be seen as one of many tools for self-development and insight. But I believe with all my heart that a good government, a really good government, never tries to dictate to adult citizens what they can eat or drink or smoke or ingest. And a good government honors the concept of an adult owning his own body and his own mind, and it does not try to intrude on that. This isn't to say that if psychedelics, for instance, became legal, that all the world's problems would be solved. Of course they wouldn't be. And if heroin were given to addicts, as they tried in Great Britain for a while, that this would eliminate all the problems. But I really do think that it's better for a person to be free and out of prison and able to make choices about whether he is going to undergo treatment if he has a relationship with an addictive drug. And I think that if you're going to make mistakes and become habituated to a drug, which usually is not a psychedelic, that it's still healthier for you to be on the outside of a prison and able to try and do something about your problem. I don't think prison really is very good for people who are on spiritual quests or attempting to self-medicate with drugs.
Well, I'm glad to see you on this side of the border, from the prison state to the south. And we should wrap up this interview for Pot Television. I'd like to thank you very much, Anne and Sasha Shulgin, here from the Ethno-Botany Conference 2 at Whistler, British Columbia, in our free province so far. So thank you very much, Ian Hudford for Pot TV.